want to go next?
I'm Matt, City of Independence Public Works.
My screen, Dennis. Dennis, I think you're muted. Anybody know how to tell Dennis to unmute? Upper right corner of your box, you'll see a little mute button. If you click that, it'll unmute you, I think. No, Dennis. Well, I see Dennis. Dennis can hear us, and he's getting frustrated because he can't unmute himself. We'll skip on, and you try to figure it out, Dennis. Tom?
How's that?
Ah, there it is. You got it, Dennis.
You threw me. It's on the lower left.
Oh, for me, it's upper right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Dennis. I'm on the council or the committee, local citizen.
Very good. Tom?
Yeah, I'm Tom Takis. I'm City Council liaison to the Traffic Safety Commission.
Kai. Kai, you are muted also.
Hi, Cottam, City of Independence, Traffic Safety Committee member.
Tim.
Tim Hines, Traffic Safety Commission member.
And I believe we have a guest, Matt Edwards. Name is
Yeah, local on Morning Glory Drive.
Wonderful. And is there anyone else that has not been recognized that's on the meeting today? Okay. Karen, do you want me to share my screen and throw minutes up? Okay. That is disabled by the host.
Try it again, Bob.
Okay. You guys able to see the agenda? Anybody?
Yep.
Yeah, I've got mine on in front of me.
Okay, so that should be the agenda. I'm going to pull up the minutes, hopefully. Bring them over here. That would be the minutes from our February 19th meeting. This was pre-COVID. We actually were in person in City Hall. That's how long ago this last meeting was. We've actually only missed one, but it feels like this was a lifetime ago at this point. Those minutes should have been circulated ahead of time if you had your agenda. This is an action item. If anybody has any additions before we make a motion or corrections to the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Motion
I'll
by
second that.
and a second by Tim. All in favor of approving the minutes, let's just say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Very good. We will kill the minutes. Next up, we have visitor public comment. Our one guest, Matt Edwards, you're actually on the agenda. So I think I'll wait on you unless there's any other comments that anyone has. All right, and then I'm going to take us out of order just a little bit, and I will do my staff report, which is just some traffic stats after we go through our discussion items so that we can allow our visitors to leave if they want and have dinner. So I will jump to 8.1 Crosswalk Requests, and I don't think that that person is with us tonight. Dawn Bitzer, have you come on to the meeting? All right, I will go ahead and share that request as I understand it. Dawn made a request for us to consider a crosswalk that would cross Gun Club Road in the area of Morning Glory Street. And her reasoning was that there's a new subdivision that she lives in that went in. Cubby Run is, I don't know, is that the name of the actual subdivision, Kai? I know it's the name of
Yes,
it.
it is.
Covey Run? Okay.
Yeah.
Covey Run is a new subdivision and
Sorry, it's Quail Crossing.
Ah.
Quail Crossing.
sorry, Quail Crossing. Okay, a new subdivision there, and it's increased the pedestrian traffic. Probably some of it going to the park, because the park in that neighborhood is actually on the other side of Gun Club Road. So I will defer to Kai on this one and what the process would be, or what kind of input you want regarding a crosswalk request there.
So normally crosswalks are designed by engineers and where they go in. This is a request, so we don't have criteria for it. I had my first meeting today with planning and engineering. We're going to discuss it and develop some criteria for crosswalk requests. This particular crosswalk already has a project going in for Gun Club and Hoffman. So there will be a crosswalk to the north and continuous sidewalk from that intersection headed north. So that may or may not affect the request, but currently we're working on some criteria for that. Interestingly enough, when I was reviewing, like City of Portland, City of Salem, speed is definitely a factor in where you put a crosswalk in. So one of our areas at Deanne Drive and Highway 51 out north may have a hurdle because the speed is 45.
How do they mitigate that? I mean, we've asked for the speed to be less there, but the state said that they didn't care for that suggestion so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to do a speed study and the state would have to be a part of that. We would probably be the only jurisdiction to sign off on that. Polk County probably wouldn't have to. We'd have a speed study done, and then out of that study, the traffic engineer would make a recommendation. And it would probably be to keep it the same.
Yeah, we did a speed request there, and they denied it, like in writing.
Yeah.
We were asking them to move the 35 zone just beyond Deanne Drive, because it's not very far from Deanne Drive now.
Sure.
But their response was very detailed, like how many feet it is now and how many feet we're requesting, and that they didn't want to do that. So
who made that request?
I made it to the state and they responded.
If we were to do another request, I would suggest we have a traffic engineer do that.
Okay.
You speak the same language.
Gotcha. So regarding crosswalk requests, how in the future, if those come in, should they come here, or really is it more appropriate that they go directly to a city department? If there's going to be like criteria, I guess is where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think once we get kind of the stipulation and criteria built, I think that they could go to either traffic safety committee, and I think then traffic safety committee could make a recommendation to public works or council. Of course, I'm going to probably want an engineer to look at it before we put one in. There's just things that we could miss, like sight distance, turning radiuses. I don't know what else. Like I said, I didn't realize speed was a factor to not put them in. So I learned that from City of Portland.
Okay. Questions or comments from anyone? No. All right, Kai. Well, thank you for getting that started. And I will reach out to Dawn and let her know kind of where this sits, that at this point we haven't got a process. So we're trying to create one that we can then follow with hers in particular. I did share with her that intersection was going to get reworked and that continuous sidewalk was coming. She was pretty pleased to hear that. So,
yeah. And I don't know. I'd have to look at the plans. I gave them to the engineer today, and I don't remember if there might be a crosswalk going in there. I actually don't remember. And I gave the only set I had to engineering today.
You mean as part of that Safe Routes to School grant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I reviewed them today, and we didn't get a lot of time from Polk County to review those. So, but I will be meeting with them in 2 weeks to discuss the crosswalks again.
Okay. When do you plan on that project kicking off?
We have plans at 30% right now. Probably another 6 months, and then a notice to proceed from ODOT sometime probably next spring.
These things are a little bit slower going than I'm accustomed to. This is new to me. Okay. All right. I was so excited when we got the approval. Now it seems like it was so long ago.
It does.
Yeah. Okay. No questions. I'll move on from 8.1. We'll go to 8.2, which is a digital speed sign request. Let's see. Todd Swinson. Todd, do you happen to have joined us by chance? No, Todd, I do have. I'm going to share my screen again and pull down an email that Todd sent us. So Todd is new to town and sent in an email. I've just taken an excerpt from it to keep from some of his privacy matters coming up. So it says, a short time I've lived in my new house. I've watched drivers speed by my place going both directions on Main Street. And I believe Todd is just south of City Hall on Main Street. I know this is a common problem we will always battle throughout most towns. I'd like to propose a digital speedometer sign across from my house. I'm also happy to have it on my side of the street in attempts to slow traffic down on Main Street. I purchased this house knowing I'll have to get used to the traffic, but the speeding isn't acceptable. I'm happy to help any way I can. Please, if you have time, reach out to discuss it further. I'd be grateful. So I did contact Todd, and I believe he was invited to join us here today. I know we've done some speed sign beta testing in the past. And I also know that we use we have a portable speed reading sign that does a readout that goes pretty close to where he's talking on occasion. That one currently is not working. We have to get the batteries replaced on it. But when we put it up, we put it a little closer to City Hall than he's thinking. I think he would like it a little further south than we normally put ours. So if you know where we normally put ours, I think his request is probably a few houses further south of them where we normally put it, right at the border of the City Hall property line. So open for discussion on this request. There's no funding mechanism in place. Go ahead, Tim.
What kind of cost is involved in that?
I didn't look it up. I think it has gone down some, but I'm gonna guess it's still in the, I don't know, I want to say $4,000 range. Kai, you got a guess on that? You think I'm in the ballpark?
I think you're in the ballpark, yeah.
Okay.
Are there any grants that might be available for that, or?
None that I'm aware of. I say that, but I did see some COVID, funny enough, some COVID literature about getting readout signs and speed signs as a way to put messages up for COVID, that there was a chance you could get some government grants for that. And then once you were done messaging COVID messages, you could turn it into a speed sign. But I did not pursue. That's pretty creative marketing from a sign company, but I didn't give it much more thought than that.
Well, Monmouth put one in not too long ago, and that's on the old 99 Helmick Road coming into Monmouth. And I just wonder what they paid for that one. So, and
it's a nice one too. It has solar, I saw, and it looks like powered by solar.
I'll reach out to him.
Get an idea of the cost there, Kai?
I'll reach out to him right now.
Okay. Let's say we had the funding available. What do people think about the general idea of putting these signs up?
I don't think it's.
I'm for it.
Tim says he's for it. Matt, I saw you trying to talk. What did you say?
Oh, I'm not for or against it. I just don't know how it's going to slow people down. I think Lance is a lot more effective than a digital sign.
Kai?
What was more effective?
Lance,
He was saying the
Matt?
medical officer.
Lance. I did see Lance working that Main Street in the rain.
Okay.
I gotta say that when it's north of downtown, it seems to be pretty effective with slowing people down. I mean, there are those that just tend to blow through it, but I think just the casual speeder, I didn't realize I was going that fast, tend to slow down when they see that. I always see brake lights when I go past it.
Or so you're talking the one that we move around when we set it up.
Yeah, right when you put it just to the north of the downtown district.
Yeah.
I see brake lights pretty consistently when it's sitting out there. I do occasionally see someone blow through it anyway, and that's probably who's speeding by the gentleman that complained. You know, they're going to go right by the sign no matter what. But I think for 99% of drivers, that checks their speed.
Gets their attention anyhow.
I think so.
Dennis?
Whether it's worth the time and maintenance, I don't know. Never had one.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the time or maintenance because, like others have said, people that are going to blow through it are going to blow through it. There's no consequences.
Okay. So I'm with Kai. I do think those that are caught by the idea that they're speeding and would have, corrected the act or would correct the action because all of a sudden they realize they're speeding. I do see brake lights. I see people slow down when they see them. Not everyone, but if we slow down a percentage, it may be worth it. It all depends on what the cost is and how much maintenance is required, I think. I also think the more of them you have, the less effective they may become, kind of like any other sign. So we'd want to choose, I guess, the most impactful places if we were going to put some up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So we'll find out what Monmouth's cost, and they've had theirs up for a little while now, and we'll find out what the response from the community has been, if they think it's made a difference. I'm sure it was based on community requests. I think I actually heard the request that the person wanted that put it there. So we'll do more research on that and get back to you with some answers at our next meeting, if that sounds good. And,
Sounds good to me.
all right. And then our 8.3 is requesting speed bumps on Morning Glory. And we do have Matt Edwards on, so he can explain this one himself. Matt, go ahead.
Thanks, guys. I just wanted to just bring this topic up because of the safety concerns for kids playing on Morning Glory Drive. And there's a loop that goes from Morning Glory Drive to Marigold that I see a lot of cars just whip that really fast. I don't know if speed bumps would be the mechanism to slow folks down or if there's some other method that could be possible, but just kind of a safety concern that I have.
Okay, Kai, would you like to start off with some discussion on what you think about speed bumps on roadways?
Generally, we don't put them in as traffic calming devices. They don't generally get the desired effect. I have seen some longer ones that are striped in Salem that I have heard are getting a better response from both residents who have to drive over them, and they seem to be still effective with slowing down speeders. That might be something I could take a look at. But generally, speed bumps are just kind of a maintenance issue. You get a lot of complaints about them. And so you end up having staff fielding those calls. Insurance can also be forced to be involved because of low riding vehicles. The other thing is, the street was designed by an engineer. It was not designed to have a speed bump in it. That's an alteration of the design. Generally, those are put in to slow down speeders, and there's a lot of other effective measures that you can take as well. So I think we did put the readers out there somewhere by Marigold. Did we not?
This is Morning Glory.
Morning Glory. Hey, it was on Marigold. We put them on.
I think it was on Marigold that we put them. Yeah.
So maybe we could have them out on Morning Glory then.
Collect some data there.
Yeah.
Matt, where on Morning Glory would we find in your opinion, the fastest speeds, or what would the greatest problem be presented if we were to go try to collect data?
I would say right around 688 area. So right kind of the beginning of the Morning Glory Drive. Since a lot of the folks that live down the street will tend to speed so they can get to their house or location faster. It's a straight stretch, so it's definitely a safety concern.
So in the 600 block, did you say 688? Just make sure I got that right.
Yeah, 688 area of Morning Glory Drive.
Okay. We can definitely collect some data there. Any other ideas? It's straight. The visibility is good, Matt?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
So it's a straight away, and the visibility, is it good on both sides of that area?
Yeah, it's pretty straight and visible.
Okay. Just pulling up a map real quick so that I can get an idea where we're at.
I just had a question. Do you know, is it certain times of day, or I'd imagine when they're coming home, but any other times of day? And is it like certain cars, or you see a lot of cars doing this?
Mostly evenings. And I've noticed a lot of them are probably on the tail end of Morning Glory Drive, I think, mid to tail end.
Okay, and that is a dead end. So probably we're talking about residents, not commuter traffic. They probably have a purpose for going down there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I do not recall doing any data collection there, Kai. I'm looking at the map now. I think that's a good first step to grab some data and see what kinds of speeds are going on, and see if we can come up with some ideas to mitigate speed after that. Matt Carpenter, did you have any other ideas? Sorry.
What's that?
Did you have any other ideas?
No, I would think if anything, maybe just a hair north of 688, because they're just making that corner off of, what is that, Morning Glory, or off of Marigold?
Right.
To Morning Glory. But I don't know. The other Matt would probably know. So he sees it. I don't.
Yeah, I would agree. I would think, north of it would be like a little bit better sense to capture the metrics.
Okay. Tim or Dennis, any other comments?
Not that I can
Did
think
we
of.
address this? Did we address this previously in that area with speed bumps?
No, the
Recall, Bob?
only speed bump that I've ever known us to address anywhere is on 13th as you enter that subdivision from Picture. And it was like
Okay.
when that road punched through, they put a speed bump there. It's the only one I'm aware of that we have in town at this point is that little section of 13th Street,
Right.
Picture and Marigold.
Okay.
Is that right, Matt? You know of any others?
Nope, that's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think gaining getting data would be a good first step. Go from there.
Okay. Very good. Go back to the agenda. So I'm going to jump back up to number 6 now, and that would be staff reports or presentations. And I do have some traffic data that I can share today. Where I put it. Looks like it's disappeared. As soon as I find the traffic data, I will share it. Let's see. The other item is a parking code update. And on that, it was, we had at our very last meeting, we had talked about, and to remind everyone where we were trying to come up with our Traffic Safety Commission's suggestions to the council on changes that we wanted to see made. And then we were going to propose those to city council regarding parking in town. And everyone should have had some copies of the current code, and we were looking through it to come up with language that we thought would be helpful in achieving some parking goals. So I am just going to leave that there and let people speak that have something to say while I find the stats to bring back up. Did anyone have anything to say about ideas for that? I know it's been a while. We may end up starting from scratch on this.
I think we were coming to a consensus on a combination of vehicles and length. I remember we looked up what the longest vehicle was, and I think we were thinking a foot over that.
Yes, sounds right, Kai. I think we were in the 23-foot range, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yep.
And also eliminating the requirement for it being connected. Current language said it has to be connected. So a vehicle and a trailer in order to have the limit. We wanted it to make it so that a trailer by itself over a certain length was going to be in violation. Everybody still have those copies of the codes that we had looked at?
I don't.
Yes.
I do not have it in front of me, but I do have a copy of it. So
okay, just making sure I don't need to get them back out to everyone.
No.
I have 2 sets, and in big letters on one set, I wrote "Talk to Fred," which I did not do. I had a short discussion with him. I remember that, and he was thinking that we might be doing things counterproductive to zoning, and and kind of the densities they're going for right now. So I'll follow up with him on that.
Okay.
If we kind of get a consensus, I'll ship that over to him.
Anyone else have any comments on that?
I had a question and I'm not sure we can do anything about this, but what about businesses, say a home-owned business that has several vehicles that they routinely park in their neighborhood? I know that was one of the complaints we get from people. Is there anything legally we can do about that? That might be one for the, the attorney, actually.
I think Kai has something on that already about home occupation, or maybe it was Fred. Maybe it was Fred, Kai, that told us there was some home occupation stuff already. But we did talk about language from other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
That tried to limit some of that. It was going to be tough. I remember specifically we were talking about well, we talked about everything from a landscape crew, landscape trailers and trucks that are in a lot of neighborhoods to someone with a take-home police car, and how the two would be connected or not if we were to write some language that prohibited it. So I don't know that we ever landed on any that we really thought was going to accomplish the desired outcomes. I do know we were talking about it, Tom, you're right, and trying to come up with some language that might accomplish what we're after.
Maybe we need to invite Fred.
Yeah, Fred has been amazing at getting code passed that has been, I think, really well done in not in municipal code, but in the planning code. So I think you're right. I think Fred would be a good addition to this conversation. Tim, did you have something to say? I saw you light up there for a second.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. I think so. Dennis and Tim, you're our two citizen reps here right now. Everyone else is basically staff. So do you guys want to be involved with a meeting to talk about possible language and possible ways to address the concerns? I mean, we still have the concerns that we had come up with before. Or do you want us to
I'd be willing to do it.
bring it back to you?
I would like to
I'd be
sit,
willing to do it.
Okay, I heard Tim say he wouldn't mind doing it. Dennis, what was that?
yes, I would like to sit in on it.
Okay, perfect. So if we could get, just like a work session where we could sit in a room perhaps and not like this, and get Fred involved, where I think he's more of an expert on these code rights, get some input from him. You guys would be up for that?
Yes.
So, yes.
Okay, perfect. Kai, does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great. Okay, well then I was able to find my stats. I will share my screen again and walk through these with you a little bit. So again, the format of the stats have changed a little bit. This is what Jennifer's producing for me now. So February to June is a long period. So she probably went to date yesterday when she pulled these stats. So I'm guessing it's till June 16th. You can see that in speeding, we had 100 citations and 102 warnings. And she just went ahead and extrapolated some comments for you. Corvallis Road, South Main Street near Independence Way, I think was worked heavily during this period. We had complaints and we had the request for a speed sign that had come in. So Lance, our motorcycle officer, was concentrating a lot of his efforts down in that area and finding righteous citable violations. Failure to obey traffic control device. So that's generally stop signs, stop lights. It's anything that controls traffic, but in our town, that's most of what those sites would be for. 26 sites and 29 warnings. Cell phone usage, 16 sites, 17 warnings. And it looks like he must have set him on with them third quite a bit because she put a note there for us. So I guess be on the lookout if you're watching us on the YouTube channel and talk on your phone. Don't do it at Monmouth and Third. Careless and reckless driving, there were 13 sites. And then other sites that don't fit in those categories, 221 with 149 warnings. And then traffic accident summary. Accidents were down. I feel like this number is lower than normal. And I would say that in March and April, traffic was down a lot. There was, during this COVID stay home order, traffic was light, and it has picked back up now, but it was light during this time. So you can see we had a pedestrian versus vehicle accident at, that's the high school's address, 1530 Monmouth Street. Vehicle versus vehicle at Stryker and 51. 25 North Way, a vehicle backed into 1062 East Street, a vehicle hit. I don't know what that means. Hit something, I'm gonna say. Monmouth and Gun Club, vehicle versus vehicle T-bone. Monmouth and 4th, vehicle versus vehicle T-bone. a domestic related one, motorcycle versus vehicle at Main and C, vehicle into a tree at 1300 block of Monmouth, a trailer hit a vehicle, 1194 9th, Marigold and Cubby Run. A lot of those are hit and runs. You can see that on the left. Another hit and run. Another hit and run on Jasmine. Another hit and run on D Street. And another hit and run on 3rd Street. I think this, all of these on May 22nd were together, same vehicle, and we were able to make an arrest on that case with a couple of vehicles damaged. Vehicle into a building, 112 I Street. I believe that vehicle was coming off the bridge, lost control, went across and hit an apartment there. Main and River, vehicle versus vehicle rear end. Monmouth and Gun Club, pedestrian versus vehicle. That was right at the intersection there. And then on the bridge, recently here on the 11th, we had a 3 vehicle rear end is right up on top of the bridge. Those are our stats for the period. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Minimize that. Minimize that. Stop sharing. All right, I think that's the end of our agenda. Roundtable. Matt Carpenter, we'll start with you. You're my upper left. I don't know how everyone else is arranged.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Dennis Miller.
Can't think of anything right offhand.
Okay, Tim Hines is out. Dennis Miller.
Everything's good. Nothing to throw your way.
Very good. Tom.
I think I'm good.
All right. Kai.
Of course. Do we trend that accident data anywhere?
Do we do what?
Do we trend it anywhere?
Trend it?
Yeah, like log it, show hot spots, lows, highs, trends.
It gets sent to the state, and I think that you can go online and find it through ODOT.
I've looked at that, but I think it's only injury. Am I mistaken on that?
It could be only reportable. So like those hit and runs
Yeah.
are likely not, but.
Okay. But everything else?
Yeah, no, we don't really trend it. Going over it here is as close to trending it as I think we have it currently, but it's a good idea. All right, and nobody else? Karen, we're not in the room, but I see you. You're muted. Anything to say? Nope. All right. Okay, if there's nothing further, then we will adjourn the meeting. It's 6:40. Thank you all very much, and we will get in touch on when we can get a meeting together with Fred, Kai, and our citizen reps. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.